Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexial Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much. So welcome back to the shop, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and this week, all things considered, was a pretty solid week. My lovely wife took an afternoon off to come up and help me get this area painted. Now, while she was working on the walls, I was working on the ceiling, and in total I ended up getting 2 full coats up here on the ceiling. After the first coat, just too much bleed through, it didn't look good. So after 2 coats, it looks night and day better. So in addition to that, after the paint dried, then I was able to get all the lights hung. Now, obviously, they're not hooked up yet because all the wiring is dangling, but that's going to have to wait probably till some point next week. Evidently, these lights, they're from the same company that I used when I was setting out the main work bay area. It's American Green Lighting. But these are a different style of light, without kind of getting into too much detail here. I need some special connectors in order to connect these to the drivers, and well, they're a special kind of connector, and at least no one locally here carries them, so I had to order them. So hopefully they're going to be in early next week. Monday would be fantastic, but I'm not holding my breath because as of right now, they still have not shipped. So now, as far as being able to get the wiring in here for the outlets and for the lights, I'm looking for some feedback on that, or actually maybe more so some confirmation here on kind of how I think I'm going to approach this. Now, I know enough about wiring electric enough to be dangerous. So, I mean, I did the main bay of the shop last year. I did all the outlets and the lights and stuff, and that was all pretty straightforward because it was easy access to the panel to make my runs. Coming into this addition side, I need to do a pass-through on a wall. And although where I'm looking to pass it through is literally about 1.5 feet away, there's a particular way that I want to have this electric run, right? So just like the main bay area, I want to have all the electric in here run through metal conduit. And the reason for that is I want to be able to use that metal conduit as the ground back to the panel. So that does a couple things. Obviously, one, it makes the amount of wires that I have to pull per circuit 1 wire less, which is always nice, especially given the price of wiring. And also, two, I just kind of like the look of it. It's very durable. It's kind of commercial looking, and I like that. So what I'm looking to do here is this is the wall where I want to have the electric come through, because the panel is right there. So I mean, it's going to essentially poke through somewhere right around in here. Now, this shouldn't be as complicated as I'm making it out in my head, but for whatever reason, I had a mental hurdle around this. So what I'm thinking of doing is using a couple of these. Now, obviously, I think I just realized that this particular one, this is a 1-inch, for 1-inch conduit on the ends. I think it's a little bit too small to fit through that ring right there, but you'll be able to see get the gist of it. So have a 1 1/4-inch conduit coming out, plastic, to wherever, somewhere in here. Drill the hole, have this punch through the wall, and then I'll have that stub poking through somewhere in here where I can put another one of these on here like so, and then have the bottom drop down and feed into a metal outlet box. So then once I actually get to that first metal outlet box, then from there I can branch out to wherever it is I need to go for outlets or for lights or wherever, and run metal conduit from that. Now, as far as being able to get the ground attached back to the panel, obviously plastic isn't going to work from that first box back to the main service panel. So, I'm thinking, well, if I can just run a ground wire from the ground bus in the main panel, run that through the plastic conduit down to that first metal box, and then ground that box there, theoretically, everything branched off from there should be able to be grounded through the conduit, and then ultimately from that wire back to the panel. Now, it makes sense in my head, but again, I know enough about electric just to be dangerous, and maybe this is one of those dangerous things where I shouldn't be screwing around with it. Maybe find a different approach, but I don't know. That seems to be the easiest way to get the pass-through on the wall, as well as kind of tie everything together with the conduit and be able to use that as a ground. So if you have any comments on that or suggestions, give me, if it's a good idea, bad idea, either way, let me know. I'm gonna hope to start picking away on this maybe this weekend, but for certain by Monday. So if you have any comments on that, please let me know down below. So the way that I'm seeing it right now, in total, I'm going to end up having 5 circuits run into this additional space. Now, of those 5, one of them is going to be a 220 circuit. So I'll have 10, 11 wires for that, for those 5 circuits, plus the ground wire, so 12 wires. I think that should be fine. That should be able to fit through a 3/4 inch conduit, no problem. I think 12 gauge wire, I think you can have up to 16 in a 3/4 inch, something like that. I'll have to double check that. But anyways, so 5 circuits total, and one of them being 220, the rest are all going to be 110. So overall, I think there's some decent progress made this week. Now, I just keep telling myself, Miller, it's baby steps, but baby steps are better than no steps, right? So we got a good head start on here, and I think we've got a plan. I think I've got a plan put together for being able to get the electric run. So as far as I know, we're headed in the right direction. So I'll take it. But again, I gotta keep reminding myself not to get frustrated. It's baby steps, a little bit at a time. How's that go? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's kind of how I got to approach this. So now moving on to something that I've been trying to put together for a while now. It's taken a while to actually get all the materials in hand. But this is a delivery that I just got from Total Boat. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Kristen and the gang, everybody that was involved with putting this together. I know this was a little bit of a futzy order, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, I haven't busted into this yet, well, other than what's in the box here, but because I wanted to wait and save this and open it with you guys. So up until just a second ago, I didn't really look to see what all they sent. But we've got, hint, hint, some vacuum bagging film, as well as some peel ply. Wonder what I'm gonna do with that. Now the rest of this, I think these are all samples of what's on these larger rolls. We'll just kind of go through here. So as far as what's on the larger rolls, I've got it's triaxial E-glass. I've also, I got some carbon fiber, 090. Unidirectional glass. This is gonna be something I'm gonna look forward to playing around with. As well as some quad E-glass, 35 ounce, that's some pretty heavy duty stuff. Some 12 ounce biaxial, I think it's gonna be 1208 as far as, if you were looking at online. Let's see, did I already talk about the Kevlar? I don't think I did. Got some Kevlar, as well as some 2 ounce CSM. And lastly, some regular old 38 ounce heavy duty cloth. So that's what's on the main rolls. I think that what's in the box here is going to be smaller samples of that, but I wasn't really keeping score, so let me go through the box real quick. Okay, first pack, some 4 ounce fiberglass. I don't know that that was part of anything that was on the roll. Also got, this looks to be, it's another biaxial. I wonder if that's like the 1208. I don't know. I'll have to take a closer look at that. Some regular old 6 ounce cloth. Always good for skinning various things like kayaks, canoes, that sort of thing. Ooh. Carbon fiber. Fancy. Now some of this stuff, like carbon fiber, isn't really a material that I've had a whole lot of time, really any experience with. The unidirectional carbon fiber. I was just talking with somebody about this. They're looking to build a support for the trampoline up on their kayak. Kristen's project. Thank you, Kristen, again. And then some more offcuts, the triaxial glass. And there's a lot more here than I thought. Yep, so that was what it was. Some more 1208 biaxial. For your CSM, I've got rolls of this stuff, but always good for tabbing. Now we're getting to the heavy stuff here. What in the hell is this? Barracuda. I don't know if that's for, is that for another project, I wonder? But it's some pretty heavy duty stuff. Holy hell. Some more 1208. And then 1708, which I've got rolls of, but you can never have too much. So what is all this? Well, other than the obvious that it's fabric. These are going to be the materials that I'm going to be using for future video topics I'm going to be working on over the winter. In addition to the Bertram. Now, you know, with what's going on with my shoulders, on those weeks where I'm just a little bit too beat up, I need to take a break, these are going to be some of the topics I'm going to be covering. Just as an example, you know, vacuum bagging or resin infusion. Is that something that really makes sense for DIY type repairs, or is it more hassle than it's really worth? Peel ply. Now, this is one of those materials that I've mentioned in the past. I personally am not a real fan of, mostly just because of the additional added expense of the materials themselves, as well as extra waste that it produces. But I've had a lot of people make the same comment to me over the years, saying, well, the reason you don't like it is because you haven't worked with it. And that's fair. I've used it maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe 10, 12 years ago, and I haven't really touched it since. So I'm gonna give it a fair shake, but I want to see if the material and the cost in the waste is actually worth it on the time savings. So what I'm specifically going to be curious to see is the bonding strength just as good? Does it actually save time during the layup, the prep, and all that other nonsense? So I'm going to keep an open mind to it. You know, no bias going into it, but I am going to be very critical of it, and it's going to have to tick some certain boxes for me in order to justify that waste and that you know, added material cost. So we shall see. Again, that's one of those things that it's going to be a topic that's going to be just as much for me as it is for anybody else out there that's going to be interested in using it. So again, I have no idea where I'm going to land on this opinion-wise, but that's going to be one of the topics that I'm going to be you know, kind of talking about over the course of this winter. And given the variety of fabric that I have on hand here now, another topic that I'm going to be covering is going to be taking a close look at each of these different types of fabrics, because not all fiberglass isn't fiberglass. It's not all created equal. Some excel at certain things far more than others. And I want to kind of go through and see and just kind of put together these informational videos so that, you know, when people are going through or approaching a project and they say, well, this is what I need to be doing, what's the best glass for this task? I want to cover that. And some of the ones that I'm going to be most interested in playing around with are going to be your Kevlar and the carbon fiber, just because those are things that I haven't really had a chance to play around with. So we might have, so I might try and see if I can come up with some, especially for the carbon fiber, some really cool parts or something that I can make out of that and kind of skin it, as well as I want to check the stiffness, especially on the unidirectional type materials. So, and I know that there's more that I've got on my list. I'm just drawing a blank right now. Oh, fiberglassing overhead. That was another one. I've got like 15 or 20 different topics, you know, jotted down on paper that I want to try and cover over the course of this winter. But given some of these materials I have on hand now, if you have some suggestions, leave those down below in the comments, and we'll see if we can put something together for it over the winter. And with all that said, now that I've dropped a bunch of teasers, I'm going to wrap this week up so I can get back to picking away up on this building here. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking forward to any of these you know, topics coming up, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of these upcoming videos. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments regarding anything that I talked about here today, leave those down below in the comment section. As always, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Hopefully with outlets and lights.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.